When you think of an Australian summer, you might imagine sparkling coastlines, swimmers catching waves, surf lifesavers in their red and yellow caps. A scene from a tourism ad, basically.
We've saved you a spot on the beach. So where the bloody hell are you?
It's the way we're seen around the world and the way many of us see ourselves.
Australians swim. It's who we are. Swimming is in our cultural DNA.
The beach is the emblem of Australian culture. You see it on Home and Away. It's in all of our shows. It's the Australian summer experience.
Except for most of us, that's not our experience, including me. My name is Angelica Ojinakasalakis. I live nowhere near the beach, I've never used a surfboard, and I can't swim. It feels embarrassing to admit this, but actually, many of us in Australia can't swim as well as we think. We live mostly near the coastlines, but that doesn't mean we have easy access to a beach or swimming pool. And we don't always feel safe or welcome in these places. Lots of us will spend this summer escaping the heat in busy, air-conditioned shopping centres, not in the water, especially here in Western Sydney. This is where 1 in 10 Australians live. And it's heating up faster here than many places in the world.
Western Sydney will swelter through temperatures as high as 44 degrees.
Those baking hot days in Sydney's west, not just uncomfortable, but deadly.
Western Sydney this summer could be the hottest place on earth.
This is Sink or Swim, a podcast about learning to swim over one super hot Sydney summer. It's my story. And it's set in Western Sydney in the summer of 2023-24. It's nothing like the tourism ads. And it's a preview of a much hotter future that all of us are facing.
I just need to get a drink. It's so hot.
I can safely say, if you want to know about Western Sydney, I'm your girl. I'm 25 and I've lived here all my life.
Hi, Auntie. I'm good. How are you?
My daughter.
Oh, it's so hot.
I live in the Blacktown local government area. This land is owned by the Druitt people, and over 430,000 Sydney-siders now call it home. It's one of the fastest growing regions in the country. It's an exciting place to be.
There's a lot going on.
It takes an hour to drive from the Sydney Opera House to my house.
Just heading down Richmond Road, and I see in my distance the very tops of West Point. It already looks jam-packed.
In peak hour, that drive takes much longer.
It is extremely hot outside. I just turned on the aircon before. A girl's got to breathe.
This train will stop at Blacktown.
By train, it's more like 90 minutes.
This station is Blacktown.
It's very hot in this area. Sometimes it gets a bit crazy.
The craziness is what makes this area, right?
It makes it Blacktown.
Here, diversity, more diversity than anything. I'm here in Australia from 1 month and a half ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, where from?
From Egypt.
Egypt. Oh, African as well. Yeah. Yes, fellow. And there's a lot of us, of course.
If you live in Western Sydney, you're more likely to drown than in other parts of Australia. Many people here can't swim, and I am one of them.
I wasn't really aware of how important swimming is in Australia.
This is my mum. Her name is Lucy. Beautiful name, very simple.
Especially coming from a background where there's fear around water. I don't go to the pools because I can't swim. I just stay indoors with air condition.
My mum grew up in Nigeria, but I was born here. So my 2 feet are in 2 different places all the time. I always wanted to swim. I wanted that birthday party at the swimming pool that my schoolmates had. I wanted to join in conversations about going to the beach on the weekends. And I wanted to go to Bondi. I didn't even know where that was as a kid. All I knew about it was what I saw on TV. Because in my family, we didn't go swimming.
I didn't have that education when I arrived here as a migrant of how important it is to enroll your kids into swimming lessons. That is, until later. And it was difficult for me as a single mom. I didn't have support. It was costing me too much. It's one of the things that I blame myself for still do, but then I can't really do anything about it. Sometimes I have a lot of guilt. I really don't share. I just wanted to keep raising these children, raising them the best way I know how to.
When I hear my mum saying that she feels guilty, I just want to give her a big hug. It wasn't her fault. It's a really common experience that many parents here share. My mum's a teacher. For over 20 years, she's taught the Migrant English program to hundreds of adults who've newly arrived here in Australia.
I'm thinking about all these other migrant parents. Maybe they're going through the same thing. When you migrate to a country where you are new to everything, you need some kind of education. Support. Really, support. At some point, if I save up money, I would love my kids to get out and go to the beach and be comfortable to jump in the water like every other kid around them, or go to the swimming pool and do laps. But is it too late? That's the question. Maybe you can test it out.
I must admit today in the 43-degree heat is very, very oppressive.
I'm here at the Mt Druitt public swimming pool in Western Sydney. It's the start of summer, and there's a big festival happening today.
Oh, it's just way too hot. The last 2 years, man, the heat's unbelievable.
We get the muggy heat, and over here it's just dead heat. I don't know, is it 40 degrees already?
43.
Oh no, no wonder I'm melting.
We're all melting, but most of us are happy to be here, in one of the few public pools in Western Sydney. There's 5 public pools in Blacktown for over 430,000 people. By comparison, Randwick, in Sydney's east, has 9, but only 141,000 people. It's not all bronzed bodies and bikinis at the Mt Druitt swimming pool. There are people in the water wearing all kinds of clothing. Men in faded t-shirts, older women in long pants, kids wearing mismatched colourful prints.
People really go in mostly like with dresses and stuff.
Yeah, people go in with all sort of clothing, so you can spot out the non-swimmers.
People are passing the footy around, and if it goes to someone else, they'll throw it back to them, and I don't know who owns the ball, but everyone's just throwing it to each other and sharing pool noodles and jumping in and seeing who can do the biggest splash.
I'm here at the Mt Druitt pool with my husband, Daniel.
If I was to jump into the pool, where would you think I would be?
I think you'd definitely be staying near the wall, or I'd want to be near you if you're in the deep end too, because I want you to feel comfortable and know that you can do it. Which I know you can do it, but I think you feel more comfortable starting off in the shallow end, knowing that you can just put your feet down and stand up. Yeah, or hold on to the wall.
How would you feel if I wasn't holding onto the wall?
I think I want to be with you, because if you don't have a floaty or a noodle, I wouldn't want you to panic or be worried. I want you to enjoy it, not be stressing out about need to stay afloat. Yeah.
Daniel grew up on Sydney's northern beaches. He's used to golden sand and emerald green ocean pools. Swimming is second nature to him. And his experiences at the beach growing up did kind of look like one of those tourism ads.
I don't know how I learned to swim. I just remember being comfortable swimming. I can't remember the bit that came before it, because obviously I learned to swim at some point. I remember if it was a hot day and you're really sweaty, just jumping in the pool after, cooling off, or spending a day at the beach, catch waves on a little board, and getting stung by a blue bottle. That's probably a distinct memory. If it's a hot day, I usually can't wait to just jump in. It's like a relief. It's like when you drink a cold juice, it's like, oh, it's nice. Other times you swim because you feel, I feel when I swim, I feel free.
I want to feel like that too.
He has got a life in water, from mom, dad, grandparents, The other day he went out to the beach and you were sitting at the corner. I would love you to be able to do that part of what he enjoys doing with him. It crossed my mind whenever I see Dan going to swimming, I know why you're not going, I don't say a lot, but I do say a lot in my mind to myself.
I feel exposed when I hear that. She's right. I do stand on the side, smiling on the outside, but frustrated on the inside. What I hear from my mum is that my inability to swim comes from something bigger. Back at the Mt Druitt pool, I'm standing on the side watching Daniel swim from one of the few shady spots. There's almost no shade here.
It's so busy that everyone's in everyone's way. You look up and there's someone in front of you, and some of them say hello, some of them just keep swimming, splash shoot. Pretty busy in the pool. A few balls flying around. Almost got hit in the head.
Everyone is trying to find a tree to stay under, but even with the trees, the shade is really limited. People are on the edge of the pool, jumping back in or dragging their kid really frantically to get back into the shade because the sun is back in full force. Why are you in the shade?
Dodging some random people here. Yeah, we're dodging some random people, just trying to get away from people. It's too packed here.
Yeah. Oh, so you feel like it's too packed here?
But it's a good day to be outside. We came here to take him out of the house, do something for the day.
The recorder keeps heating up. I've had to probably sit down about 6 times or just stand in the shade a few times from the recorder getting super hot.
Just recording this podcast is already proving difficult. Our recording equipment is not coping with the heat.
And I'm scared that the device is going to melt on me while I'm talking to people.
There's a breeze, but it's like a hot breeze, like when you open the oven. I can't remember the last day it's been this hot.
I'm David. I'm from Tropical Snow. I do shaved ice. I'm down here today at the Mt Druitt pool. We're selling snow cones in 25 flavours, and we've probably done about 250 cups so far today in the 43-degree heat.
Wow. That is a lot. How long have you been doing this for?
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 30 years.
It feels so good just to sit down and rest. The water's a little bit milky as well, probably from the amount of bodies that have jumped in and out and are splashing about. And I want to jump in the water, but probably making excuses for myself, but I think I might try tomorrow to swim.
Please be careful in the water.
This is my dear friend Natalie.
Us as Nigerians or Igbo people, there's this thing of it's not fear, but respect water. I think in a way our parents have gotten scared of water. Most of us never learned how to swim. So I'm really proud of you for the fact that you're actually taking that step to actually learn now, but at your big age. I don't know, Africans don't really be on that, I want to learn how to swim. They be what? You rather go do other things. I want to hear your stories, but don't drown, I beg.
My mum is on the same page as Natalie.
There's a lot of fear surrounding water where I come from. You feel the force of nature, like, oh, wow, like, oh my God, it's massive, you know? I wonder how deep it is. It's just the fear of not acknowledging the force of nature that created it.
As a kid, what are your memories of ever going into the water?
I remember one day I went with the local kids in the water to wash my clothes, and the river took my clothes. So I tried to go in that water, but the local kids said, no, don't go in there. I was really scared of it because it was very fast-flowing river, really. And when I got home that day, my grandfather was really upset with me. And that was the last time I actually entered into a river. I haven't tried to just swim like other people because I don't know how to. It's just the embarrassment, like I can't swim like other people. So I don't even want to try. If people could support migrants, especially of African descent, because there's this fear around water that we generally have. I don't know if the school ever asked. They never asked me at that time, can your kids swim?
Australians swim. It's who we are.
But why? Why did the swimmer become a national archetype? To find out, I asked one of Australia's most famous swimmers.
My name's Shane Gould. People know me best, I guess, as the Australian swimming champion and Australian of the Year for 1972.
An eye on the Olympic scene is Australia's super swimmer Shane Gould. Though she's only 15 years old, Shane is world record holder for the 100 metres. Already, this youngster has shown the potential to make a clean sweep of every freestyle event in the Olympics.
Swimming is in our cultural DNA. There's a whole thing around being a swimmer in Australia that is different to other countries. So people think that to be Australian, you have to be able to swim, which is a really interesting identity for a population to have. There's a long history of Australians as swimmers. And at the first Olympic Games in 1896, there were some Australians there who competed in swimming and won. So, of course, the world thought, oh, this country of Australia, in the back blocks of the world, who are these people? So there's a lot of history there about why Australians are considered swimmers, and then that becomes an identity. If you can't swim, are you not Australian? That's how strong the identity narrative is.
You feel like this schism, you know? You're like, am I even part of this Australian culture? What does that mean? There's a sense of failure as well. Like, oh, I can't do this thing and I feel embarrassed. It's like a metaphor for so many things, isn't it?
This is writer and journalist Sarah Malik. She and I faced similar barriers growing up, and she didn't learn to swim until she was an adult. I'm chatting to her for some moral support.
Growing up in Western Sydney and Muslim, where my parents didn't grow up around water and we didn't have that kind of water knowledge and practice. There are those barriers there, you know, and being a South Asian girl, like the hair, I'm like so much hair, you know, and like I just felt like I don't look like these white girls and I'm not going to look cute in a swimming costume, and I felt very self-conscious about my body and like modesty and that kind of stuff, and I never really saw anyone around me in swimsuits and it just wasn't the done thing. Yeah, there's so many different factors that are involved in certain kinds of people feeling more welcome and comfortable.
You brought up hair. That's like the biggest thing when it comes to us. Even now, I'm wearing like very thick golden cornrows and I'm already thinking, how are these going to get destroyed in the chlorine? They're just going to get heavy.
When you're a black woman in society, your hair is constantly under scrutiny and judgment. And so you move through the world differently. It's a whole different set of things that you have to think about. And that's something that the regular Anglo person is not thinking about. There was this longing, you know, at swimming carnivals and Kayama water sports park ads on TV and Wet and Wild, and you'd see it all, but you felt like you couldn't really participate. And I remember going to parties with family, friends growing up, and it was always like, that's not for us. Like, we just kind of are going to dip our toe into the water. The swimming journey mirrored my own feelings of belonging and not belonging in Australia generally.
A sense of belonging. That's something I'm starting to pick up back at the Mt Druitt pool.
It's like a whānau. It's like we call it whānau, but it's a family knit of community. You hardly get families congregating and having a place to go to.
It's actually good to be out, even if it's 43 degrees and surrounded by all different people.
It's a community pool, so it's a lot of different cultures coming in. So it's a good time to meet people, and it's good for the kids as well. They feel included.
You know, looking around different race, genders, you know, you're surrounded by different people and their cultures.
People have come from all over Western Sydney to be here. Some even further.
You both arrived yesterday from India, correct?
Yeah, right.
How have you found the day so far?
Amazing, full of lot of enjoyment in water and all these peoples.
I love that this is a good welcome. I've lived in the Blacktown area for a long time, and so it feels really nice to, you know, that you feel welcomed here and that you feel included.
No, see, climate is too hot, so enjoying swimming is a really very good idea.
Today is the hottest day, I guess.
I thought it was going to be really hot, but once you go in the water, it feels really good.
Are you worried about the summer?
Worried because like the temperature it's going to be hot.
And I really love this idea that we are in a whole family with together, spending nice time together in the water.
You know, we're lucky to be here. This big pool party almost didn't happen. Most public pools in Australia were built after the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne, when Australian swimmers impressed the world. The population was booming, the suburbs were growing, and migrants were moving here from all over Europe. Mt Druitt Pool was opened in the 70s, but 10 years ago, they almost closed it down. The council said it was costing too much money. But the local community got organised and pushed back. The pool stayed open. It meant that much to people. And being here today, I can see why. I'm excited to get over my fear of the water because I want to share in this joy, the feeling of relief from the heat and the sense of community. But there's one big thing standing in my way, and it's something I've put off telling you. It's a memory. I see a crowd of people at the end of the swimming pool, and I can also hear chants, "Go, go." We're waiting. I can see the teacher who has the gun say, "On your marks." I can see in the corner of my eye people getting into positions. I'm now trying to get into a position myself that I think will help me dive. Set. People started to crouch down, so I'm now crouching down. And then the sound of the gun. Put my hands out like a fish and just jumped in. My eyes are stinging, but my head is just saying, keep going, keep going, keep going. My legs, though, they're not working. They're not going anywhere. My arms are not doing what my brain is trying to get it to do. Just keep just one arm forward, another arm forward, another arm forward. Just close your eyes. Close your eyes, you're fine. But I feel like I'm now swallowing water and I'm screaming. All I feel next is someone scoop me up. Someone with light coloured skin, blonde hair. But all I can feel right now is everyone looking at me. I can also feel a lot of pain in my chest, and I'm coughing, feel really cold as well, and feel like I've failed. Yeah. I know now I was drowning. I think it would have just looked like someone jumping into the pool, flapping their arms, and essentially just sinking. I was so embarrassed, but I was also so scared. I was very desperate for my mum not to know that just almost happened. Hi, I'm just here for the swim sense classes as well.
What is your name?
Angelica?
Angelica.
It's time for me to face my fears. I don't know if I'm going to be relaxed in the water. Oh, they look really relaxed. I don't know why my nervousness just picked up again. So, like, to me, this is like not just a pool. This is like a totally new world. And so it feels super uncomfortable to be here. In the next episode, I learned to swim.
Breathe. You're doing it. You're here. It's fine. Yeah.
Half the population can't swim 50 metres.
It's officially the worst ever summer for drownings.
People who are actually most vulnerable are the most likely people to die from heat.
People on other parts of the world will face the same problems. We are the test bed.
This is Sink or Swim, an Impact Studios production. This podcast was made on Darug and Gadigal lands.
Be